Join me in welcoming Christine Quinn. Hey, Christine, how you doing today?
I am terrific. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for asking. So, tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
I think of myself as an empowered woman. Um, Not all my life. It took some growth. It took some willingness. It took some humility. But I believe that I had an epiphany at one point in my life and just learned to connect with the divine part of us that's inside. And I think it's inside all of us. We just have to be willing and ready to access it. And that happened to me about a decade ago. And ever since then, I've been yearning to share this kind of message. And I come across people on a regular basis that have very little or no self esteem and no idea of how powerful and glorious they really are inside. So that's what I want to share.
Well, that's an amazing message to share. And your book, Be Magnificent My Path to Empowerment and Joy, which is available today for free on Amazon. Um, Tell us a little bit about the journey of writing your book.
The book has been on my mind and on my heart for some time. I read different um, stories and scholarly reports on the impact of connecting inside. And my strength was reading about um, the ancient mythical archetype of the goddess. And the goddess comes to us and always has, not just as a mother or a wife, but also a healer, a teacher, a creator of magic, a creator of majesty. And so, what I do with the book is kind of do a quick introduction to some of the different archetypes: strength, joy, courage, endurance, compassion that we have in the different archetype with the goddess. If this is pre-written history, right? There have been stones and statues and artifacts found that predate our written history of the goddess and of the celebration of birth, the celebration of life. So this is what got me started. Then the book takes being aware of the goddess and internalizing that, how we feed our mind, how we love our body, every cell, every inch, every curve of our body, how that is also glorious. And then how we can also surround ourselves with like minded, strong willed people who continue to feed this as we grow together. That's like a step into my life.
I love that a lot. So, totally unfair question. What is your favorite part of the book? What's your favorite thing you bring up in the book?
Well, there's so many. There's so very many. I think it's important to realize what kind of strength the female archetype has had throughout history and prehistory, to realize that that's in us. Keeping your mind active, keeping your mind positive, because we don't just feed it foods and herbs and plants. We also feed words and thoughts and ideas into our mind. And that's what we turn around and give out. It comes from what we put in. But there's also a part about being aware and proud and pleased with your own body, with your own health. So that's important too. I do think the spirit, once you know who you are, once you connect with that true magnificence within, the rest will follow. This is just a little hint and guideline about how to keep it to follow, how to make it follow. But it all comes from inside and from your knowledge and agreement with what's inside.
So many of us have a hard time even beginning to see ourselves as magnificent. What is kind of the first step in being able to embrace your inner magnificence?
Well, believe it or not, I think one of the first steps is humility. All right. Not trying to see above and see through and judge yourself, but with humility and with grace, know that there's something else. There's something deeper. There's something better, grander, greater that can reside within us. Just that little spark of awareness can grow into a roaring fire. I mean, it doesn't take much, But in order to believe that something is there, you have to have a willingness to see it, to recognize it, to be small and quiet, to realize that this is in me, this can grow, this can be nurtured, this can be exuberant eventually, but you first have to ignite that spark. That's what it is.
Well, and one of my favorite misused words that has an amazing definition actually is that word humility. Because the word humility actually means having a right perspective of yourself, meaning that you're able to admit, I'm really good at this thing. And also, I'm not good at that thing. To just put yourself down, that's actually the ugly other side of the coin of actually conceit. And
Yes.
so I'm glad you brought that up. So let's dive a little deeper into the book. I pick up the book and I want to read it, and I really don't feel magnificent. Is it going to take me on a journey, or is it more like I can skip to different sections of the book to get what I need today?
You can definitely skip to any part that feeds your soul. I write it as I learned it. I learned it first in the divinity within. And I use the archetype of the goddess just to demonstrate that ancient prehistory divinity that we connect with as humans need to and yearn to. The brain, if you're feeling like foggy or lack of clarity, the brain part will help you, feeding your mind, not just with food, but also with words, with thoughts, with ideas, with your spirit. The body teaches us how to function and how to be aware of who we are in order to love and cherish ourselves. So you can skip, of course, but it's my journey. So that's how I learned it. That's why it's written the way it's worded.
So let's go one step deeper. We're going to take those one at a time. So give us an example of, an archetype of the goddess and what that means to us.
The goddess comes across, for instance, there's the ancient symbol of Mother Earth, the earth itself, and how the seasons change and how the earth sleeps during the cold months. The earth wakes up, nature. That was the goddess known as Gaia, Gaia, the complete Mother Earth, right? And honoring Mother Earth, but honoring what we connect with, how we connect with, our feet planted on the ground, how we're rooted. It's a metaphor, but we are rooted in our life. That's the mother goddess. There's also aspects of being strong, being in a leadership position, being able to exert enough of yourself outward that you can pull other people in. That's a part of the goddess. There's also compassion with Kuan Yin in the Far East. She's the goddess of compassion, endurance, reaching out, caring. That's part of us too. We can access that at any time. We don't have to be cold and judging and self deprecating. We can also be compassionate in a high level of awareness as a part of yourself. So yes, we're compassionate, we're enduring, but we're also strong and mighty and glorious and connected with the earth, completely connected when we choose to be.
Okay, so let's talk about our brains. How do we feed our brains like we do our bodies? What's a good way to, have brain wellness?
Part of it is what you put into your body. All right, we tend to, at least in our society, eat a lot of processed foods without realizing what's in it. There could be enormous amount of chemicals or salt or other preservatives that we're absorbing and not realizing. Right? And that has to take a toll on us internally. So one of the things I suggest is utilizing some of the raw, fresh foods that actually feed our brain and connect those synapses. Short-term memory, there's been a lot of studies that show that blueberries and spinach, these act to refresh your mind, to refresh your brain, to increase that short-term memories. There's other herbs we can take that also do the same thing. But mostly with your brain and your mind and keeping control with a clear mind is what we put in it. And that absolutely includes food. It includes being hydrated. These things should be, to us as humans, common sense. I mean, we should yearn for that. We should hunger for the freshness, for the colors of the rainbow in what we eat. That's I think more how we're geared, how we're hardwired. But it's become easy. It's become not complacent, but certainly easier and more readable to eat what's available. We eat a lot on the run in our culture. We eat going from one place to another in a hurry. It's not feeding fresh, bright colors into your body. And these really do impact our mind. It makes a difference how the nerves connect. It makes a difference how your memory thrives. It makes a difference when we pay attention and rest and get the sleep that we need. These things matter. And I think they matter to all of us intrinsically, but knowing it and acknowledging it and being aware of it makes it even more powerful when we reach out and make this part of our life.
And then, of course, last we've got the body. How do we really take good care of our bodies?
I'm so glad you asked, because I speak with so many women that have no idea what goes on inside their body. And not just young kids who haven't been taught yet, but women who have lived their lives without really understanding how our muscles and joints work, how to protect those, how our digestive system works, and how to avoid irritating bowel or digestive issues, right? How our reproductive system really works. And these are things about if you're hurting or you're not moving well, your joints aren't moving well, there are things in nature we can do for that. It's not inevitable that we suffer from arthritis and swollen joints and lack of mobility. We're meant to move. In my opinion, we're meant to dance and rejoice. But I talk about some of the herbs that are well known today, and if they're not that well known to you, you can certainly find them in a vitamin store, online, overnight, that we use as spices and herbs in our daily life. And we should use it on a daily basis because it does make a difference to how healthy we are. So we cover 4 different parts of the body, but the whole body doesn't have to be a mystery. It's who we are. It's essentially the vessel, the vessel that we're in right now. So I suggest, if you're unhappy with your body, or you're unhappy with how you look, or you're not pleased and you're stuck in judgment, that you make a covenant, you make an agreement, you make a sacred contract, so to speak, with your body. And you say to your body, this is what I will do to you with hydration and feeding and sleep, etc., whatever's personal to you. And in return, body, I want from you, to be at the right weight and strength, to be flexible, to continue to move. It's a 2-way, probably more than 2 ways if we were to get into spirit and magic as well. But it's at least a 2-way agreement that we are conscious of. Right? If it requires it, write it down, make it a contract, sign it, date it, light a candle, whatever you need to do to work symbolically with making this a true understanding between you and your body. And your body responds. It has to. It's you. It's the law. It has to respond. So that's just one of the things that I think pragmatic steps help us, and it helps us get to where we've decided we want to go as magnificent women.
And of course, your book, Be Magnificent, My Path to Empowerment and Joy, you can get today for free on Amazon. I did put that link in there. If somebody wants to go deeper with you on this, how can they work with you?
Well, we're in the midst of putting up a website and putting together some terrific information at your fingertips and retreats available. But in the interim, be_magnificent@yahoo.com is me. Please feel free. Let's get this rolling. Let's get this started. We thrive on support from each other. We really do. It helps. It is almost like adding little muscles and adding strength and adding power when we are of like mind and like focus. So be_magnificent@yahoo.com.
And do you again get the book, Be Magnificent, My Path to Empowerment and Joy by Christine Quinn. It's available for free today if you're listening live on Amazon. If not, it'll be available there anytime. Christine, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the show today.
It is my honor, and thank you for inviting me.